Welcome to your X Generation Fish Report. This is a combined inshore and offshore report for the week. That's why today I'm joined by Captain Danny.
Hey, brother.
I'm joined by Mike.
Hey, brother.
And these are our captains today to give us our report. So Danny, tell us what you got. What's going on inshore with the water affecting us over here with the Lake
water does not affect Palm Beach County. That's my report. Have a nice day. Palm Beach Inlet loaded with tarpon. I'm talking hundreds on the incoming tides. They don't want to eat. You might be able to get them to eat at the bottom of the low. I'm talking when it slacks low. If they stay, they're being really weird. Never seen this many tarpon. Jupiter Inlet loaded with tarpon, loaded with snook, loaded with Andy's favorite Goliath groupers, which there's some of those in Palm Beach Inlet as well. So remember, it's June.
It's June.
So there are big mangrove snapper. You got Cubera snapper mixed in. All the inlets are going to be holding some Cubera snappers as well. And I mean, the bite's on. There's the snook bites on the bridges. Been pretty good at night, according to Tim Rose, who is a member of the family here.
I saw some pictures the other night of them, and they caught some. They weren't trophy fish, but they were respectable. You know, something to have a little fun fight on.
Yep.
Great snook. And Mike,
I do have an inshore report. So I'm friends with I never do.
You don't.
I'm friends with a lifeguard on the beach in Delray. And he told me that
he has a friend.
That 150 yards out off of Delray Beach, the public beach off Delray, there were some really big tarpon, he said, out there, like you said. And there's been some small pilchards running the beach too. And the bigger pilchards are out by the piers and stuff like that. But yeah, I did hear about the dolphin.
So
the tarpon.
The darpin.
The darpin.
Right. There's plenty of darpin on the beaches.
Yep. I was actually out last Thursday. We were beach fishing. I'm just gonna say where I was beach fishing.
Yeah, you were beach fishing. Carry on.
All evening, you'll see the schools of bait fish out there. You'll see the little slicks where you're there from the oil from the fish. So the bait was good. I was out in about 30 feet of water. I took the kayak out, and you could see right down. So we're talking about the water clarity. Water clarity was great.
Super clean water.
Super clean water.
Inshore and offshore.
Yep.
Speaking of offshore, Devin.
So offshore, Mike and I were talking earlier, and they were coming up on a good, the mangrove spawn.
From what I understand, the mangrove snapper is spawning, which is a little late as far as I'm concerned, but they're catching a lot of mangrove snapper right now.
And everything's happening either early or later this year. It's been a weird year with the cool fronts. So it's been so cold up north. It was at an extended cold. I know that's in the past. It's like 3 months ago, but it's like last year for these people now.
Pretty much.
And now they're going through a heat wave. So they're actually, the northern states are hotter than we are in Florida here to believe that. What happens is the convection off the Gulf, it pushes all that hot air up, and it's making all those states hotter, even all the way through. So those coastal states, I feel like it's going to start pushing more of those fish down our way.
Upwellings. We're having upwellings, these cold water upwellings that are happening up off of Cocoa Beach, the Melbourne area. And when that upwelling comes up, and it's due to a lot of this moon right now that we have, you get this hard moon we just had, which is the full moon, hard moon I call it. You're going to get a bounce of water that's going to come back off the Bahamas. And this is something that is, I'm not even allowed to use his name. I don't know if he's out of prison yet. But anyway, this guy, he's been talking to me a long time, teaching me this stuff, and he says, we get these upwellings that come out of Melbourne, and when it starts pushing down from north of us, 200 miles north, all these fish come south, and it just keeps the cycle going. Weed lines. What's up with the weed?
Tons of weed out there.
There's weed. Apparently, the weed is slowed down a little bit. It got pushed in, but I mean, previous few days before, there was weeds from here to the Bahamas, and the beach is full of weeds too. Out to about 300-400 there's weeds. I didn't go past there, but a friend of mine Saturday went dolphin fishing. They went to 1,200 feet. They found weeds out there, and they caught 4 dolphin and a sailfish. And he had guests on board, and so the sailfish, he said they fought for.
And I had the same issue inside. I'm talking starting my drifts at 200 feet. That's for me, but tell Donald Trump I'll be there a little bit. Anyway. Starting out at 200 foot, like I call it inshore, but on the reef drifts, I'm going out to 200 because we're having this light southeast wind at the end of the day. And the end of the day is when I've been getting my bites. I'm doing inshore charters in the morning, folks, running offshore. Because I'm like, come on, I'll show you what it's like here offshore. Because these people are used to going, they're from Texas, they're from places where they got to go 100 miles to get to clean water. they freak out. And I'm like, dude, we're in 200 foot. They're like, you got to be kidding me. Start a drift, quick. And what I'm doing is I'm running up on the beaches, finding these little chummer baits, these little pilchards, blackening out my wells, and I'll throw out a handful or two of the live ones. Then I start pinching. I take a net full of them and sit there and pinch the heads off them live ones and just throw out the dead bodies. And I start that chum line. Every 15 seconds, I'm dumping out a fresh dead bait. And it's just sailfish, wahoo circling the boat, big blackfin tuna, bonita out the yazoo, which is far out because there's nothing like a bent rod. I'm all about the bent rod, you know. It's
And Mike and I have talked about the bonita are actually, although they're not a good table fare, they're great all around for use on everything from feeding your baits to being able to make strips.
Bottom fish with it.
Yep, and you can also
make
bottom
gummy
fish
bears to catch the yellowtails, little chunks. We call them gummy bears.
Yeah.
Yellowtail snapper, love them. Mike, kingfish, 30 pounder.
Yeah.
So obviously there's some big kings around.
Yeah, the last couple weeks, every time we go kingfishing, we've been getting them. So we had 5 kings on Sunday before 9 a.m.
That's awesome.
Our biggest one was 30 pounds. So by 9 a.m. we called it quits and went bottom fishing.
You know,
but the bottom fish were all like pretty small muttons, and I mean I was using butterflied gogs and catching short muttons with them.
You know, Mike, only
What
if
a bait.
only if you can do that during a tournament. You know, you go out before 9 a.m. Never works like that.
No.
Now this weekend, heavy boat traffic. Well, not just the, you know, I mean, now that the 4th is behind us.
Yep.
So this weekend, still going to be a lot of boat traffic. Things are going to still be kind of crazy out there. Be safe on the water.
All the kingfish you caught, where's the fish dip?
Oh, we don't
We're
have
sorry,
any.
folks. Just one of our fans. We allow a few fans in now and then.
She's a groupie.
Female
Sorry.
persuasion. Sorry, fellas. You're not allowed. Blondes,
Yeah.
brunettes, redheads, girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Carry on.
We do have a live studio audience, so.
film them.
Hey, everybody.
But
We're not allowed to screen, you know. No fake news.
yeah.
Okay.
But no, the kingfishing has been good and consistent. That's about it.
Huh.
Yep.
And they will put a nice bend on your rod too.
Yep.
Everything from a 15-pound kingfish all the way up to your 60s. 60s take some work, but for your average Joe, you're going out there. 15-pound king eats really well, easy to catch.
Yep.
Unless you're Andy.
Yep.
Then you can catch sharks.
Then a shark will eat it.
Shark
So
will eat
I'm
it.
not using wire. I'm straight fluoro. But believe it or not, I've gone over to an Andy line made by Andy called Ghost. And it's closest thing I've found to fluoro that's not fluoro, and it's a third of the price.
Wow.
Now, I'm not using wire on my kings. Obviously, you guys are using short traces.
Yeah.
You're tournament fishing the majority of the time. I'm getting the bite. We're losing a lot of fish.
Yeah, but you're getting
But I'm
black
getting,
fins where
you know,
we're not.
And I'm getting the black fins
Yeah.
because I'm not using them. Excuse me, not using that wire.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
folks, if you
Little
want,
pork
if you
salmon.
want to up your bite ratio, you can go ahead with the fluoro or straight to the Andy Goes and just use a triple hook because that triple hook's gonna act like your leader, and you're gonna have still like about a 60-40 catch ratio.
Yeah.
You may get bit off a couple times, but still you're opening up your catch ratio to the different species with that.
Yep. So everything's biting right now as far as our report goes, really. So you just got to choose what you want to go for and stick with it.
So no hot fish, just mixed bag this week.
I would say
if,
so.
If we would say it's a hot fish, it's going to be the king. I would target that first.
Either
but
kingfish or mangrove snapper. The mangrove snapper have been biting.
And gonna be a few big wahoo around because this
There will
moon, we're
be.
coming
Yep, we're
out
on
of
the
a full
backside.
moon.
There will be.
What, now we're 3-4 days out of it, 5 days out of it. This is at the tail end of some of these bigger whoos get caught, right?
Yep.
So Mike, in the morning, and Danny, same thing. I would go for the morning right out the gate.
Yep.
Spend about an hour trolling for your wahoo. Put your spread out. And then you know what? Throw 3 live bait out and bottom fish is what my suggestion would be. Start the drift with three live bait and then bottom fish the rest with the
When
other.
you get
rest
near
of the
that evening bite, when I'm talking after because it's staying light till 9 o'clock at night. 7 o'clock in the evening, start chumming. Start those drifts around 200, 225 feet. Start those drifts out deep.
Yeah.
Start chumming and prepare yourselves because the melees I've been landing on myself have been in that late evening it's been sick. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's your X Generation inshore and offshore report of the week. Feel free to email us your catches from the weekend. We'd love to post them up. We'll see you guys next week.
Weather predictions for this weekend, Mike. What do we have?
Southeast winds, 2 feet or less. Perfect weather for anything you want to do.
Well, we got. I don't think last weekend was that good because I think it was a full moon.
Yeah.
I think this weekend's going to be much better. I think the wahoo bite's going to be the ticket. I think people are starting to.
I hope so. The problem is the weeds. It's going to be hard to wahoo fish because there's a lot of weeds. The seaweed is horrendous out there, and you'll just have to pick. At some point, you have to decide to either leave your line out or clear it. You know, especially if it's
But
a
you don't
plane or
think
something.
with the non-wind that we're having that it would define itself at that point?
Man, it's all over the beaches. I mean, seriously, when you go to the beach, from the water line to 10 feet out is nothing but weed on the sand. And then there's nothing but weeds all the way out there. So I hope it clears up.
No,
don't get me wrong.
I'm not saying it should define itself for the next couple of days if we have no.
It's starting to get more defined and it's starting to thin out offshore, but
wouldn't that give the option of dolphin fishing being better, of course? Cause
a little easier, yeah. But wahoo fishing and trolling the reef is going to be tough, but you can try, you know. The weeds this past weekend were right in the middle in 150 feet. You know what I mean? So it's hard. You got to decide whether you're going to fish on the outside of 150 feet or on the inside, and that's a tough decision.
Right.
I would fish the outside.
And you said you went bottom fishing and it wasn't that great.
It was all small fish, but the small fish were eating big baits. So.
No, I heard a mangrove snapper bite is
very good.
With that full moon. They are spawning, so the night bite for mangrove snapper would probably be ideal. If you decide to go in the afternoon after dark, mangrove bite would be the ideal thing to do. I'm sure you'll get some muttons in that mix too, because it is their time of year spawning as well. Although they probably, should have spawned already. Usually,
I think they will. I think it's late. They may be the mangrove may be spawning right now, but it's still. I consider that late too, don't you? Or is this right about?
Not necessarily.
No,
not necessarily. It might be a little late, but it's usually the first couple moons in May, June, and
right.
We just started July. So, granted, it's probably we're probably just coming off this last moon. This will probably be the last moon they spawn. So.
Yeah, but yeah, the dolphin bite's good. Danny Barrow has been catching blackfins, as he said. Wahoo should bite this weekend. I wouldn't mind trying first thing in the morning, but first thing in the morning, you won't see the weeds. That's the only problem. So I am being negative because of the weeds, but kingfish biting.
Well, at least you guys get to stay here and go fishing. I got to go to Boca Grande.
And he's going to be in Boca Grande. He always tries to be by himself on 4th of July. Yeah. Because he has that American flag Speedo that he's got, and he's got to wear it every 4th of July.
That's true. But don't tell anybody about that.
All right.
Now the reality of it is, I am cursed. So every time I do plan to go fishing. I don't know if you guys heard about what's going on in
Hurricane comes and
hurricane comes one day. pollution, red tide this time. So but anyway,
you'll
see.
catch some fish. You'll find a way.
I'm hoping that the tarpon will show up because it's already started to subside, that red tide over there. So we'll see what happens. But interesting. I'll give you guys a good report next week on that.
Yeah, you'll find.
And if the tarpon are there, the hammerheads will be there, and you'll catch.
Yeah, you'll catch it. You go shark fishing. Just go shark fishing.
Might as well, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our weather predictions for this week, and we're going to find out how good this weekend really was next week.